Hey, hey, I'm going to do some bon tanning with Gurdjieff. I'm going to do some bon ton. It's a word that's used quite a lot with Gurdjieff. He used to like the old good sweets, bon ton, because it's French. And there were various reasons I wanted to do this. One is I've had a few people saying to me, "Oh, you're recording Steiner again. You're putting lots of Rudolf Steiner up." If I want to record Rudolf Steiner, I can. I find it quite interesting what he had to say. And I've said this before. Gurdjieff's helped me incredibly. I would not be where I am today without Gurdjieff. He's my number one dude. But I find Steiner, for me, helps me more with the theological side of it all. And it's each to their own. You might find your way of finding the theological path through somebody else. I, since I was a child, I believed in the Christ. As I became a teenager, I began to be a bit funny about churches, and it took me a while to realize that religion could not be trusted. And I used to visit quite a lot of churches or services and not understand why these people seem so happy. It took me a long time to figure that out. And also some churches where you were made to feel very uncomfortable because you were the sinner that the service was trying to tell you that you were, and none of us are worthy. There are different people promoting Jesus Christ in various ways, and whether it's coming from the idea of Jesus the man becomes the Christ, or whether Jesus was God from the beginning, from his birth, that's for you to figure out for yourselves. But Rudolf Steiner, for me, helped me understand my esoteric belief in the Christ rather than the religion that's thrown at us from these institutions. And I needed that because I've always knew that the Christ consciousness was a special thing, an important thing, and something we can attain to and work with. But I felt the religion and the churches that I'd been attending later in my life as a teenager and so forth, and even in my 20s, I went to a few services that didn't quite ring true. There was very few services I went to where I felt that the priest really knew what he was saying and really putting forward Christ consciousness rather than trying to make us feel like we're all sinners. But there are some out there, and there's different denominations of Christianity as well. And I always found that quite difficult. I just didn't know where I was coming from with it all. Whereas Steiner helped me to understand what the Christ is, Christ consciousness, what it means to me, and how it is in my life. So that's why there's been a lot of Steiner up lately. But we were going back to Gurdjieff because this is about the bon ton. And this was kind of also what inspired me to do this. If you want to sit there and moan about what I'm doing, well, we've all got the right to moan if we want to, but at the same time, it's not very productive, is it? Because you're not being more open-minded. Where I know many of my subscribers are willing to look at other things, and they tell me about people that I would never have thought of or known about to look into and research. And there's other philosophers, other mystics, other theologians that have helped me with my understanding of what my position is with the divine source. And this is what I'm trying to encourage people to do: find where they are in their position with the divine source, what it is they truly believe in, and what it is they feel their spiritual, soulful mission is, or how they're supposed to be developing themselves. There's many paths to Rome. We just got to get there. But coming back to Gurdjieff and the bon ton, he reminds us, this is from All and Everything, that having had no practice even in respect of all the established professional rules and procedures, or in respect of what is called the bon ton literary language, and he's reminding us here how many people just write without being conscious, sorry, of what they are writing. People just follow a rote. They become mechanical and do the same things. And that's what I meant about some of the church services I've been to over the decades that I've been attending things like this. Sometimes they just throw them out bon ton, just as if it's a mechanical process, rather than actually having put an input into it, a feeling into it, meaning it, doing it with their heart, soul, body, mind, with everything thrown in, rather than just a repetitive, programmable service, which has no life to it. We should be finding life in our searches. We should be finding life in our divine path. seeking, our divine path seeking. And Gurdjieff reminds us, still in all and everything, they educate their children never to be able and never to dare to do as the conscience present in them instinctively directs, but only that which is prescribed in the manual of bon ton, usually drawn up there just by various candidates for has-nas musses. And as we all know, we're trying not to be too involved with has-nas musses. We're trying to be alive and awake and as real as we can be. And many people that follow the mechanical way, it's just so that they can have an easier route to life, or that they feel, for many, they just feel that they're doing what everybody else is doing. They feel safe and secure in that. Remember, Gurdjieff encourages us all to go our own way, blaze our own path, be our own star. We don't need to follow everybody else and do exactly the same as them. Or as Ouspensky said on his deathbed, there is no system. He wasn't saying there's no system. He's just saying, go and find your own system. But we learn from other people's systems and make it our own. And I'm just going to do a quick reminder of what has-nas musses are. So, has-nas mus. This Nalu-Osnian spectrum of influences consists of 7 heterogeneous aspects. So this again is from All and Everything. And he reminds us that, has-nas mus, every kind of depravity, conscious as well as unconscious. We do things consciously sometimes that can lead us down the wrong path. But most has-nas musses are unconscious. The feeling of self-satisfaction from leading others astray. It's one thing I definitely hope I'm not doing. I hope I'm helping people go to find what it is they want, find their path, giving them the encouragement to do. The irresistible inclination to destroy the existence of other breathing creatures. Loads of people out there like that, whether it's, New World Order trying to population cull, or wars, one army trying to kill another army. We have, in your own street, there's probably families out there that are trying to, I wouldn't say necessarily kill physically, but they want to kill people's life. Stop people being the true people that they should be, because people want everyone to, boring people want everyone to be the same and do the same thing. And how dare we go forward and be ourselves and be our own people? Control, that is, control issues. The urge to become free from the necessity of actualizing the being efforts demanded by nature. Again, the sheep, they just don't want to put the effort in to make themselves develop. They like being sheep. They like being asleep. It's easy just to follow everything else, be told what to do, follow the program, be part of the program. Whereas we're breaking free of the program, breaking free of our programming, people. And then, of course, the attempt by every kind of artificiality to conceal from others what, in their opinion, are one's physical defects. We have to be honest with each other. We have to be honest with the world, but it's very difficult to be honest with sheep. They don't want to be told they're asleep. That's that. It might make some people start thinking about it over time, and either they will go off and ponder on it, maybe let it niggle at them. Maybe they'll go back to sleep. Maybe they will wake up, but most people will stay asleep. It's not nice to be horrible to other people. We don't want to be, unless it's some kind of encouragement to help them move on. But some people use it, being horrible like that, being spiteful, as an ego trip, and again, another control thing. Put people down so they can control them, make people feel like shit, and can normally manipulate them to do what you want to do. And who wants to be king of the turds? Sheep, or the sheep that are controlling the sheep. The calm self-contentment in the use of what is not personally deserved. Oh, so many people get things they don't deserve and misuse them. But then, is that what life's all about? Do we do things to get what we want? Do we do things to get what we deserve? Is karma the way that the world goes round, which I very much believe it is? What you do will have a cause and effect. Everything has a cause and effect of some kind. But as Gurdjieff reminds us, many of it is law of accident. So it's just being caught up in the programmable world. And we want to jump out of that and become part of law of fate, make things happen because we're fated to go on to bigger destinies. That probably want to break free of all them kind of laws and just be part of the divine laws that help us be part of the smooth running of the universe. And the striving to be not what one is. We're doing this work because we're striving to be what we are. We're striving to be the real version of ourselves. I'm striving to be the real Debbie. You're striving to be the real, add your name there. We're all striving to go forward. So it shouldn't matter what people are into, as long as they're not harming or hurting anybody else. We should be free. But going back to the bon ton, Gurdjieff reminds us there arose for the first time the form of their so-called politeness, now everywhere existing there and also maleficent for them. Oh God, I was always taught to be polite. Don't, question anything. Even when you're seeing people do really stupid things, you just got to stay polite and, pretend you didn't see that. And I went through definitely the first half of my life like that. And I remember screaming inside my head, these people are being fools, they're doing stupid things, and you're just being too polite to say something. And it wasn't till, doing this kind of work that I realized it's okay to speak out. It's okay to say the right thing. To say the right thing, obviously, was trying to do that, to correct people when they're wrong. I never used to correct anybody because I was told that we're supposed to respect our peers. And now I realize that most of my peers were stupid people that were telling me that because they could see that I wanted to question them. And I was being too polite and nice not to. Yet at the same time, we do want to be polite to people. Like when we are arguing our case, we should try and do it in a polite and sensible, clear-headed, concise way. But politeness does hold a lot of people back. And I think that's a lot what's happening, definitely in the last few years of all this woke stuff and things. Many people are too polite to argue against it, even though deep down they know it's not quite right. And again, in all and everything, he talks about how people, they manifest within themselves automatically and according to the data fixed in their common presence by the rules enforcedly inculcated into them of what are called bon ton. So we're trying to see through the bon ton. We recognize bon ton when it's happening, and we don't want to be imprisoned to it. I had a better word for it then, but now it's gone from my head. We don't want to be a slave to the bon ton system. We want to be free individuals that could be as real as we can possibly be. So stay free, people, and read what you need to read. Let other people read what they want to read. I keep having people throwing quotes at me, which is all good. It's nice to have quotes from people, but sometimes it's actually nice to hear what people actually think themselves personally. And I've also been noting that a lot of quotes are being misused. I had this Annie Besant. Sometimes I like Annie Besant, sometimes I don't. But we were walking through a park last year or the year before, and there was one religious group using a lot of her quotes, but they were out of context. So it's easy how people misuse other people's words to fit in with their own context. We need to learn to think, feel, and be our own selves, so that we can not be full of bon ton, hasness, mussy people, but be alive, well, waking, thinking. I can't seem to get my words out today, but free people. So be free. Love you all. Bye.